Alright, I'm going to do problem 8-3 in SketchUp this time. There's so many different ways to do these in any program, but I'm going to kind of point out the settings I'm going to use to do this. Right away, very often you're going to turn these on and off, but red is standard for X, green for Y, and blue for Z. That's going to be true in AutoCAD or otherwise. But up here, definitely when you want to start out, you want to have the large tool set. Understand there's lots of things you can add down here. That's how you change toolbars in this program. It's a little bit different in Apple. I'm going to go to Camera, Standard Views Top, and then remember there's a parallel projection and a perspective projection. We want to be in parallel. And I'm just going to draft this in the vein of everyone kind of knowing part of this. I'm going to go ahead and draft up the piece with the kind of notch in it, and then next to it I'm going to draft up the other piece so you can see how you go about making things into groups very quickly and very often in this program. So that general piece, 2, 3, 4, is 6 by 4. In this program, you set up your units. We're going to make that decimal feet. That works for me. I'm going to go here. There's no at. If you just put, it assumes relative. I'm going to go 6, 4. That does that. Now there's all kinds of different ways to go about it, but learning how to offset here is not a bad idea. So to learn to do this, learn to grab your tool, hit the control, and that's going to let you slide it along there. That is 1. I'm typing in 1 unit, and I'm going to do the same. It's still selected. The control. I'm going to go 2 units, typing in 2, and then also the next one is in fact 2. Since I only made this 6 long, I'm going to grab this piece here. You notice you don't see it, but I'm going to hit move, hit the control key. From there I'm going to go 2. What it's doing is it's keeping it on the face. You see that jumping around. It's tending to assume it's on the face. I'm going to erase this. Erase this. At this point is when you're probably worthwhile, and you could have drafted this way looking at it. Many of you are going to want to just do that from the outset. So I'm going to grab here. I'm going to more or less start grabbing, right click, erase, so I can go ahead and now push this up a distance of 2. Now in this program, what you want to do right away is go across, highlight, right click, make a group or a component. You'll see why in a second here. So I go ahead now and draft this next box, right? Holding, and I'm going to go edit, undo here, rectangle. What you're going to want to do very often is learn, edit, undo rectangle. You're going to learn to want to grab the face of something. So you might want to put this thing together, but learning very often that you're going to very often need to grab a face. So I'm going to see if I can do this. And right there, you notice here, I'm holding the shift key down and it's letting me grab the face. And if I'm going with the shift key held, it holds the face. So I'm going to go this. This of course is 4 by 5. I did it wrong in the other video. I'm going to grab here. As I start to going up, I'm holding that face. As soon as I take my hand off the shift key, it goes away. So that's one thing you'll see later on that became difficult. Instead, I could just do it the other way and just go across here, and you notice it's finding it there. I can imply that, lock this along here, and I want to go in that direction. I'm going to go 4, 2. Now it looked like I was doing things correctly, but you notice I was not. It held the face the other way. So all kinds of different things you can do in this program. This is not how you would typically do it, but you grab first, then grab your tool, then grab your face and hold the shift key. And you're doing a lot of control. By controlling once, you turn it over. You've got that kind of thing turned around the way you want it. Now in effect, you can go ahead and push that up. This time you want it to go up 5. And you've got that part there. Again, this is a million ways to do this. I'm kind of showing you how to stumble around. Once you've got that set, now of course you have this kind of 2 over and 5 down. There's all kinds of different ways to go about doing it, but relative is not a bad way to learn right away. So I'm going to draft here, I'm going to grab relative, and if you know your relative coordinates here, which you might, as you see the green, you want to go a negative in the y and a negative in the z. What you do is you use the greater and less than. So I want to go a negative, in this case, from there I want to go basically a negative 2 in the y, a negative 5 in the y, and 2, 3, negative 5, and a negative 2 in the z. So I'm going to go 0, comma, minus 5, comma, minus 2, and I'm going to hit that. And you see it drafted that line. Now I didn't do it what I wanted because it probably wanted to go 4, but it actually, notice that you can kind of keep track of that and draft that way if you look at these coordinates. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that. That wasn't exactly what I wanted. So you also do a lot of this in this program. You want to go ahead and offset over 2, so you grab the face, hold your control key for your copy. The one thing to remember in this program is that you don't want to move things you copy and then erase. So I'm moving it 2 over. That was 2 over, and then I guess it's 2 down. So I'm going to grab this one here and grab that. I'm holding the control key once, bringing it down. You see it wants to find that. I say 2, and now I've got that line that I can draft through from the endpoints. I can then left click on top of single lines, right click, erase, left click, right click, erase, left click, right click, erase, and now you can do the push, pull, subtract. Try that again. Push, pull, subtract. And every now and then something like this happens and you lose what you wanted, but you get pretty good at erasing and then drawing one line on top of something, and it'll usually close the face. And so you see in that, the last thing you tend to do is you start to get rid of these extra lines that you don't need. Now that one there, if you notice, it's part of the way through. The reason why that is I started correctly on that box being, and that's why it didn't close. So I did this for a reason. These two parts are going to be a little bit easier to manage by go ahead, right click, make a group, and then finally go ahead, right click, make a group. So we've got basically something that we put together. The lines are not something to worry too much about later on. That's for, of course, I'm going to typically file save at this point, but if not, I just go ahead and turn on. It'll probably trash because my computer's not working the way it's supposed to. I turn on sketchy physics, and it treats each of these as a solid piece of wood put together. So let's see how I view toolbars. So we should have all of our toolbars around, and that's the sketchy physics, and it's going to control. There it goes. Goodbye. Now I point that out because it starts to go ahead, and I'm going to bring a bottom to this, and I'm going to realize that because of the way this is modeled, it is not actually modeling the way it's completely supposed to. So within sketchy physics, one of the great things you need to do is to go ahead and debug read back collision geometry, so that when you turn this on, right, you can see that it kind of it lost that little bit here. Wouldn't have been bad, however. That's going to stack up okay. So here, go back. I'm going to go ahead now and copy this. And if you notice the way that was copying, hitting a control key, and stack one block, hit a control key, stack another block, hit a control key, stack another block, hit a control key, stack another block. And the way this was modeled, eventually now when I turn this on, we may see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on, and there you see that it falls apart. Now what it doesn't have is the notch. So I'm going to go back, and you can actually go back and change the format of the thing that was notched from a block to a convex hull. So I'm going to go ahead, once again, showing you, we'll go ahead and I'm going to grab all these things, right click, So I'm going to grab each of these things. I'm using the move with the control. Gets me a copy, of course. I'm going to pause this, turn this around, and see if it holds up. Alright, so I've kind of paused up. That sense of you grabbed everything, now you grab the tool, you grab the face, you hold the shift key, turn it around, click all the way around here. Learning that 90 degrees, 180, 180. Gonna run out of time right now. Turn it on, things are gonna run into each other. We'll see what happens. You notice, because they weren't touching. See ya.